Hey there, welcome back to this series. So in this series I'm explaining some cool and weird JavaScript concepts, and after watching this video you will know what is the difference between a function statement and function expression or anonymous function, and what is an IIFE or an immediately invoked function expression, which is a very important topic, and why we use it. So let's now jump onto my screen. Okay, so basically there are three kind of ways you can use a function in JavaScript, right? So these are function statement, function expression, and IIFE or immediately invoked function expression. So I'll tell you how everything works one by one. So let's start with function statement. Okay, so a function statement is just how you normally declare a function, right? So this is how we do it, right? Just the keyword function, then the function name, let me just call it hello, and in parentheses and in curly brackets just print or do whatever we want to do with the function. Right now, after at the end we just call it whenever we want to use it. We just call it hello, and that's all we need. Right now, if I save it, you'll see that okay, we have hello. So this is how a function statement looks. This is just normal declaration of a function is called a function statement. Cool. So now let's jump on to function expression. So basically you can define the function expression as a function which is part of a expression. For example, if I show you, this is how a function expression would look. So function expression is actually assigned to a variable, right? So this is our variable a, and I'm assigning to this function hello, which is obviously going to just print hello, right? So this is actually how a function expression looks, right? And how do we call it? Now the question is, how do we call it, right? So if I just call the trivial way like we do it function statements, you'll see that it will say it is not defined. The hello is not defined. And why is that happening? Is because we're not declaring the function, we are just assigning it to this a variable which has the reference to this function. So now how we call this function is not by calling the function's name, because JavaScript does not know what is the function's name. It just knows that this variable has reference to some function. So if I just do here a instead of hello, you'll see that we are printing hello. Now there are two kinds of basically function expression. One is called the named expression, or where the function has a name. So this is a named expression because it has a name. Now another kind of function expression is when the function does not have a name. So this is how it looks. If I just remove hello, it will still work. I'm saving it now. You'll see hello is being printed. So the function expression without a name is called an anonymous function expression, right? So this is an anonymous function because we don't know its name, right? We're just calling it by the variable we are assigning that function to. So this is a function expression. So now why this is important is because in IIFE we use function expression. So that's why I just wanted to explain this function expression, right? So now let's jump on to this. So if you want to define what is an IIFE, you can say that it is a function which is defined as a function expression, but the difference is that it is immediately being executed as it just gets created, right? It just immediately gets executed by itself. So let me show you an example. So this is how an IIFE looks. So first we have parentheses. I know it's weird, but just stick with me. Then the function keyword, then another parenthesis, and inside this curly bracket we just do what we want to do with the function, and then we call the function. This function will call itself by this thing. This is the thing we used to call the functions normally, like, right? For example, add this is how we call, right? But the thing with IIFE, why this immediately gets invoked or executed is because of these function, because the function is calling itself, right? Now the question is that why do we need an IIFE? If I just normally write a function hello, right, and I do something with it, and I also declare a variables, let's say is equal to 10, right? Now when you do this, when you declare these functions or variables in the global context, what happens is that the JavaScript engine adds these declarations to its global object. So if you want to see what is this global object, I'll show you. So console log, if you just print to the window, right, the window, you'll see this object being printed here, and if you just open it, you'll see that we have a here, right? If I just give it that it goes, you see this global object, right? So if you just go into it, you'll see you have this your variable here. If you search, you will also find this hello here. So this is how the JavaScript engine is adding these declarations to its global object. Now the problem here is that when your code base grows, what will happen is that you will have a lot of variables, names and whatnot, so there can be name collisions and the code will not be safe, right? So what will happen when you use an IIFE is that this thing will not be added to your global object, because it is a function and inside this it has its own execution context, right? So whatever variable you declare inside this function, it will have its own execution context and it will not be inside this global object, right? So avoiding lot of named collisions and making the code safer is why we use IIFE. Okay, so let me show you that. So if I just name this IIFE hello and try to find it within my global object, so what I will do, I will just do window.hello, right? So if it will be there, it will show me the object. So if I just save it, you'll see that I get undefined. Why? Because this is not being tracked. Whatever variable is in there or this function is not being tracked by the global execution context, right? But if I just go back to our this function and I do now window.hello, now as I told you, this function will be added to the global object. Now if I do a save, you will see that I will get this thing because this declaration is being added to a global object and this thing is not. That's why we got undefined. So that's why we use IIFE to make our code safer and to avoid these name collisions by just not putting all the things into the global object. Cool. So that was the video, and if you're watching till now, this really means a lot. You can just go down and give a comment. It would be great to know you, and do let me know what did you learn or what more things that bother you in JavaScript that I could explain. And obviously if you like the video, smash the subscribe button, that means a lot, and I'll see you in the next one. Till then, have a great day and keep building.